So this is Baruch Tikkun Elevator Kollel and Ultimate Connection with God by Rabbi Yosef Chaim Mimran. Buy this book. This is not something that you learn at one time. And as you see as we go deeper into the book, that you'll understand how Kabbalists actually practice Kabbalah, what some of the things that they did. So let's take a look at where we're at right now. We're going to start part 16 over here, and before I do that, like I've been doing lately, I bring the blurb first. Let me bring this down a little bit closer so we can see the blurb easily. So he said, the blurb said from last week, from the last time we learned this, that animated body and the spiritual soul, now in a tight-knit relationship, so that's the body and soul together, are here on this planet to gain awareness of their Creator. That's where we left off. Now we're coming to this concept, the world to come. Let me lift it up a little bit. It's kind of small. So he said, ponder the ways of Hashem. This is the Torah Hamicha, Rav Yaakov Sakali. So ponder the ways of Hashem and His wonders and anything else he is able to grasp with him. Now when he meditates on this, it will bring him immense pleasure, as his perception will become perfected. This in turn will drive his mind to have an intense longing to follow Hashem's commandments, since his mind will now choose to follow desirable things and flee from lowly ones. Now exactly where this came from and how the quote works, I'm not sure. Let me bring this down here a little bit. Better. So, these are the words of Rabbi Yosef Chaim Mimran. The watcher of the mind will receive a deeper and wider significance of his purpose in life. When this is practiced, being the watcher or the witness, one finds oneself withdrawing consciousness from negative, repetitive thought patterns that have been troubling him for years. Consequently, the watcher, pure consciousness beyond form, becomes stronger, and the mental formations of thought and their hold on him become weaker. When we talk about watching the mind, we are personalizing an event that is truly of cosmic significance. Now, is that true? Let me read it again. He said, let me get back here and get it right lined up. When we talk about watching the mind, okay, now this, like I said before, this is something that has to be practiced. You don't get it in a day. You get it every day. Keep trying. So we are personalizing an event that is truly of cosmic significance. Now, let's see where I'm at here. And he says like this. He says, through you, and how is it that it's cosmic significance? I mean, that's obvious question. Through you, the totality of all soul consciousness is awakening out of identification with form and withdrawing from form. Now, the Kabbalah speaks of the concept of Hitzonius. Hitzonius means outside. It means form rather than substance. And we go with trends. We go according to what we look like, the communities from which we come. That's all Hitzonius. That's all form. So he's through you, because when you're able to divorce yourself from form, the totality of all soul consciousness is awakening, because he's inside of Rabbi Mimran's thinking is that all of these things are connected. Because there's only really one soul, but many forms. So the soul consciousness is awakening out of identification with form and withdrawing from form. This foreshadows, but is already part of an event that is probably still in the near future as far as chronological time is concerned. Now, let's understand what he said here, because it's short, but it's very deep for me. He says that your ability to be able to watch your form, that's really what he's saying, that it separates you from your form, so that the Kitsonius is not who you are, but the Panemios, which are connected to everything. So he says that connection, this foreshadows, but is already part of an event. What's the event? That is probably still in the near future as far as chronological time is concerned. Now, what event is he talking about? The event is called Olam Haba, the world to come. Now, it could be the world that is coming. That might be another way to say it. Which will be the end of the natural world, but the beginning of a new spiritual world. As is known, this will be ushered in by God's messenger, the Messiah, which he's writing as Mashiach, the Hebrew word for that, as mentioned countless times in the Torah. When consciousness frees itself from its identification with physical and mental forms, consciousness, that means you become conscious of the fact that you are a living, or your consciousness is attached to your form, and you could watch your form. With physical and mental forms, it becomes what we may call pure awakened consciousness or pure soul energy. Which I said that I think that Rabbi Mimran wants to say that pure soul energy is in everything. But you can't get to it because we're locked inside of our thought patterns. So he said, even though this very real and powerful state of being in its fullness has only been achieved by a minor amount of our population. In other words, there are very few people, of the population, you're talking about Jews. There's very few people that come to this level of meditation. And the majority of people are still in the grip of their egoic mode of consciousness. Still identified with and run by their mind. That egoic consciousness, he says. Nevertheless, the state of being, which leads to total attachment to God, will be the norm in the future, as explained earlier. This is really, for me, it's really rather quite fantastic. When consciousness frees itself from its identification with physical and mental forms, it becomes what may be called pure awakened consciousness or pure soul energy. As we say, that energy is really an aspect of the divine. This is Baruch Fleischman. This is the Tikkun Elevator Kolo. We've been listening to Rabbi Yosef Chaim Mimran.